Although not perfect, Dynasty Warriors 5 was among the greatest of Musou titles to be released on the 6th generation hardware. As with the last two major titles in the series, it wasn't long before Koei would release expansion content in the form of an Xtreme Legends title with additional content that could be either remixed into the base game or played on its own. Is this rendition of Xtreme Legends content worth your time? How has the standalone expansion held up? And if for some reason you don't have access to the original content, is Dynasty Warriors 5 Xtreme Legends still worth playing? Let's find out. Dynasty Warriors 5 Xtreme Legends had a very short turnaround off of the original game, releasing less than a year after 5 in all territories. As with the other Xtreme Legends expansions, all new content does not require the vanilla game to be played, but save data can be transferred over from Dynasty Warriors 5, and the original game's data can be imported by using the Load Original option, allowing the player to play all content from both builds of the game. 4 additional modes have been added to the 5th entry in the series with this expansion, one of which is wholly new to the Musou franchise. As in 4XL, Legend Mode and Extreme Mode make their returns. Legend Mode returns, featuring 18 additional stages to play through that range from what-if battles that never happened in the series, to key events from the Three Kingdoms story that were either absent from the base game, or just touched upon when they probably should have been a bit more embellished. These stages are even better done than those stages found in either Legend Mode of 4XL or in the base game of Dynasty Warriors 5, and have the best story presentations and in-battle cutscenes so far for the series. There is even a wholly new stage, Yangping Gate, that in my opinion is probably one of the prettiest and most unique stages in any Musou title on a 6th generation system. As also with the previous XL title, Legend Mode also offers a great way to acquire rare items you may have either missed in the base game, or gives you a way of unlocking them without having to play vanilla DW5 at all.
Ah! Look at this place! I am impressed.
Unfortunately, there are some downsides. Most notably, whereas 4XL implemented a new Legend stage for every playable character, 5XL doesn't even have enough stages to cover half of the characters. They get around this discrepancy by having stages be playable by one of several characters for the initial run. After completing once, any of the game's almost 50 characters can play through the stage. I also felt like although there was a lot of variety in the story presentation for Legend Mode, there just wasn't as much variety in the stages themselves. Whereas in 4, there were stages with novel goals, like avoiding killing certain enemies or blocking an officer's movement. Dynasty Warriors 5's Legend Mode is more of the same run here, kill this, rinse and repeat mechanic. That's fine, but it would have been nice to have a bit more variety. Extreme Mode also returns to this Xtreme Legends, again with some minor changes. As previously, Extreme Mode is a bit like a survival mode on steroids. You try to win as many missions as possible before dying or giving up. Health is not recovered after finishing a stage. However, you can use gold acquired in previous stages to purchase recovery items at the in-game shop. You're given a handful of potential missions to choose from at a time, each with their own rewards and differences in difficulty. Defeating enemies and completing different objectives earns you points, which factor into the amount of gold acquired at the end of a level. Items can be found during stages and equipped, but can only be used once, so save them until you think they're needed. New to 5's rendition is the Iron Currency, which can be found throughout stages and be used to improve your weapons at a blacksmith between battles. Portions of iron earned in previous Extreme Mode runs can actually carry over to new games as bonus iron, which can be used to strengthen weapons at a blacksmith. This really boosts the roguelike feel of the mode, and gives the mode a new sense of progression lacking previously. You can now also gain companions, as opposed to in 4 where allies were able to be hired. Officers found in your travels may join you, and you're able to have 6 under your employ at a given time. Only 3 can go with you into battle, however, but those left at camp will recover a small amount of health while you're gone. There's also an entirely new kingdom mechanic, where you're able to control your own kingdom that can be expanded by invading other lands not under your control. The kingdom size can be increased when new facilities are built, such as the stables or hospital, and the unification rate increases as you conquer additional lands. Extreme Mode came a long way in the span of a single rendition, and the mode finally feels fleshed out enough to stand on its own in my mind, as opposed to just being a passing curiosity like in 4 Xtreme Legends. Edit mode was something I sorely missed in the vanilla version of Dynasty Warriors 5. Thankfully, it returns here, and is better than ever. There are substantially more customization options compared to the primitive creator tool found in Dynasty Warriors 4. You're still able to choose either a male or female model, and edit the equipment of the character, in addition to their equipment color. In addition to choosing your height, weight, and voice now, there are substantially more customization options at your disposal, both in character design and weapon options. In addition to the return of Fushi's greatsword and Nuwa's rapier, All weapons found in Dynasty Warriors 5 can be used for a total of about 50 movesets. There are now 10 hair and face options each per gender. A total of 7 clothing options for your head and 10 each for your torso and legs can be chosen from, with many of these unlockable after playing through the game's only completely new and arguably best feature, Destiny Mode. Destiny Mode is something entirely novel to the Musou franchise, that unfortunately hasn't ever returned. It's basically its own role-playing game within a game, where after creating your own character, you're able to be employed as a private under any of the characters found in Dynasty Warriors 5. The mode always consists of 8 stages that start at the Yellow Turban Rebellion, but otherwise is a unique experience every playthrough. Before battle, you're able to level up your character in a multitude of ways at home. At the beginning, you're only capable of a 2-hit combo, but by obtaining skills either here or directly from your commanding officer, 6-hit combos, charge attacks, Musou attacks, and Musou rage attacks become possible. You can also increase your health and abilities in several other facets of gameplay, such as archery. When you leave for battle, your commanding officer will brief you of your duties during the fight. You're able to select additional objectives that can be fulfilled during the mission. Undertaking and completing these is vital to efficiently leveling your character. Especially during the initial stages, it's important to stay near your commanding officer. Doing so allows you to recover health and gain temporary ability boosts, and also makes it easier to be promoted in rank. Eventually, you'll receive your own soldiers under your command, which can then be given their own commands. Enemies defeated with your tactics or others under your command grant tactical KOs, which contribute to your final evaluation. In some cases, enemy forces may ask you to defect to their cause in exchange for something, which can happen multiple times in a single playthrough. I finally remember creating a character that defected 2 or 3 times in a single playthrough, and somehow also gained the best final evaluation at the end of Destiny mode of any of my Destiny runs. At the end of the 8 stages, your character can be registered as a true edit character that can be used in the game's other modes. It's an amazing mode that really made Dynasty Warriors 5 Xtreme Legends for me, and I'm very disappointed that the mode has never popped up again. There are also a few minor additions and tweaks added to the game. 2 new challenge mode stages have been added, including Speed Strike, where you try to defeat and destroy as many enemies or crates as you can in a very short time limit, and Gatekeeper, where you attempt to keep the enemy from infiltrating your hold for as long as possible. Gatekeeper is a fun diversion and reminds me of a challenge mode stage found in the sister series title Samurai Warriors. Speed Strike didn't do much for me. It honestly felt like a haphazard effort to try and add some excuse for an extra stage into the game. As always, the challenge mode stages are a passing diversion for me that I wouldn't spend much time in personally. 7 new equipable items are also introduced that have some unique effects. There are also some changes to combat that make heavy class weapons more useful. You no longer can be flinched or stunned by normal attacks while attacking with a heavy weapon. This makes some characters that had 4th weapons that were for some reason designated a heavy class, such as Da Chao, substantially more useful to me. 1st through 3rd weapons can now also be upgraded using the power-up option in camp, where stat-raising books found in other modes of the game can improve a weapon's stats even beyond that of the 4th weapons in some cases. Speaking of weapons, Dynasty Warriors 5 Xtreme Legends' biggest disappointment that keeps it from being a perfect set of expansion content is the total lack of 5th weapons being included, unlike in 4 Xtreme Legends. Really, unlocking these weapons in both 4 and Samurai Warriors was the biggest part of the Xtreme Legends in-game experience for me. It honestly just feels like laziness on their part to not put them in. While I can't be sure of it, as I didn't work on the game and I've never made a game of my own, it seems like Dynasty Warriors 4 and 5 run on a very similar if not identical engine, and the 5th weapons of 4XL could have practically been drag and dropped into the 5XL content. In my opinion, there really was no excuse for leaving these out, and really diminished the game's replayability for me. Still, Dynasty Warriors 5XL brings a lot of new concepts to the game. You could blow through most of the game's Legend mode stages in about 10 hours or so and be done with the game, but Extreme mode and Destiny mode could both give dozens of hours on their own, depending on your interest in the content they bring. The game was released solely on the PlayStation 2, despite the base game also being released on the original Xbox. Interestingly, a PC and 360 version of Dynasty Warriors 5 released exclusively in Asian territories that did include some Xtreme Legends features, including Legend and Extreme modes, but wholly lacked the Edit and Destiny modes of the expansion. It's pretty upsetting too, as the Destiny mode is probably the mode that personally offered me the most enjoyment during my initial run of 5 Xtreme Legends. In conclusion, do I think Dynasty Warriors 5 Xtreme Legends is worth playing? It's no question in my mind. Whether played on its own or remixed with a vanilla game, Xtreme Legends Dynasty Warriors 5 is sure to offer you hours of top quality content, regardless of what type of content you may be interested in from a Warriors title. Although Dynasty Warriors 5 and 5XL are flawed experiences that take some steps back compared to their Dynasty Warriors 4 counterparts, I still personally think Dynasty Warriors 5 with the XL modes remixed in probably represents the best content the Musou genre has to offer for the average player. Not just Dynasty Warriors, not just the 6th generation Warriors titles. Any of them. Other games reach the level of 5 in some aspect or another, and sometimes even surpass it in some specific way. But I don't think any other title is as good a package all around for your average gamer interested in a Warriors title than 5 with the Xtreme Legends content. Even if you do prefer the challenge of Dynasty Warriors 4, the story of Dynasty Warriors 7, or even the setting of something like Hyrule Warriors, I think Dynasty Warriors 5 with the XL content is sure to provide you with a superb, unforgettable experience. Thanks for tuning into my review of Dynasty Warriors 5 Xtreme Legends. For gameplay of this and other Musou games, check out my other channel, J Plays Archives, where I chronicle all the gameplay you see in my videos. I'll leave a link in the description below. Also, if you like this video, be sure to drop a like, and don't forget to subscribe for more retrospective reviews of the Musou series. Let me know your favorite moments from Dynasty Warriors or other Musou games in the comments below. Thanks for watching.